There's no hard evidence for Bigfoot. There's none. There's nothing verifiable, undeniable. There's no piece of evidence that proves beyond a reasonable doubt that Bigfoot exists. Despite all the footprints, the hairs of unknown origin, the eyewitness accounts, testimony, videos, none of it has affirmed the existence of a creature we call Bigfoot. That said, I do find it interesting that there are so many historical accounts of Bigfoot-like creatures. Here are 3 short news stories from 1779, 1785, and 1800. Now, I do prefer to read things as they were written, but there is a part in the first article that really shows its age. It's nothing egregious, but you'll see what I mean. Article 1, the Edinburgh Advertiser, April 23rd, 1779. There is on board the French East Indiaman lately brought into Ballinclough, Ireland, an orangutan, or wild man of the woods, intended as a present for the famous naturalist Buffon. This extraordinary animal is 7 feet high and so exceedingly like the human species as to be handsomer than many of the natives of Africa. The most evident difference is having no calves to its legs and the heels and toes of an extraordinary length. It appears very gentle and performs many offices like a human being, such as sitting to table, eating its food moderately and gently, drinking out of a vessel like any of the mariners, and returning every ceremony of salutation. Its amazing strength has been shown in making it remove many articles so heavy as not to be affected by 12 men, and tearing a large dog to pieces which had bit him on board. Wow, even the Sumatran orangutan only gets up to 6 feet at most. Now, of course, human beings aren't supposed to be 8 feet tall, but there are some of us that get that high, so it could be just an extra large orangutan, and the heels and toes were of extraordinary length. It sounds like an orangutan to me. And then in terms of its strength, are orangutans so strong that they can move objects that 12 men can't? Was it an exaggeration of the article? I don't know. Orangutans are known to be able to use tools and do some basic stuff that we do ourselves. What's the segue? January 11th, 1785. There's lately arrived in France from America a wild man who was caught in the woods 200 miles back from the Lake of the Woods by a party of Indians. They had seen him several times, but he was so swift of foot that they could by no means get up with him, till one day, having the good fortune to find him asleep, they seized and bound him. He is near 7 feet high, covered with hair, has but little appearance of understanding, and is remarkably sullen and untractable. When he was taken, half a bear was found lying by him, which he had but just killed. Again, this creature is also said to be 7 feet tall, that had just killed a bear, torn in half, as a matter of fact. Whatever this creature was, did it come upon a dead bear and these people just assumed it had killed the bear? Or did this Bigfoot wild man-like creature actually tear a bear in half? That's 2 for 2, that these creatures are tearing other creatures in half. One dog, one bear. Is that the MO for wild men? Is tearing other creatures in half? Good lord. This is kind of what I'm talking about here. It is hard to reconcile no evidence, no verifiable evidence that Bigfoot is real, and then seeing historical accounts like this. Next up, Wednesday, December 3rd, 1800. Wild man. There is now in the river an astonishing large hairy wild man caught 400 miles from the Cape of Good Hope, brought over in the Rambler South Sea whaler. He is of a astonishing muscular strength, a specimen of which had nearly proved fatal to one of the customs house officers who inadvertently went too near him. He seized hold of the man, twirled him about 2 or 3 times with the greatest violence, and then threw him over the side. Luckily, the man escaped with a horrid fright and a sound ducking. These are all interesting stories and just add on to the mystery of the whole Bigfoot phenomenon. So by my tally, we have one creature caught at least in the area roughly of Sumatra, I'm guessing. The next creature from America, doesn't say where, just says America, 200 miles inland, but one of the colonies. And then the last one from the Cape of Good Hope, so the absolute southern tip of Africa. So we're dotting the globe here, which is fascinating. From these stories, it almost sounds like people are capturing and then just transporting apes everywhere. And so you could probably write off the first story, the orangutan, they must have been somewhere near the areas, the islands of Sumatra and Borneo, which is where orangutans are. And then the third story could very well be an ape. It was captured was it say 400 miles from the Cape of Good Hope, South Africa. But this story was printed in Vermont. So these people captured something in South Africa, brought it to Vermont, and then what? It gets loose. They track it down, find it in a river, and some guy gets his bell rung. What is happening? It sounds like back in the day they were just capturing creatures from other parts of the globe and transporting them. The creature from South Africa was brought to Vermont. The creature, the orangutan, the creature they called an orangutan, was brought to Ireland. And then in the second story, the creature is caught 200 miles inland in America and then brought to France. These people are capturing human wild men, Bigfoot-like creatures, and then just swapping them all over the globe. And these articles are real. This stuff is wild, and it's honestly, it's fun to track this stuff down in old newspapers. And I'm going to continue to do this type of stuff because history's wild. This doesn't move the needle towards verifying or disproving Bigfoot either. I just thought it would be fun to share these, so I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Peace.